Welcome to the Jazz Jumpstart Show. I am so excited to have each and every single one of you tune in because I have amazing special guest who is gracing us with his amazing presence. Oh my goodness, let me just tell you, this man is coming all the way from New York, the Big Apple, and he has amazing things to display. He not only rips the runway, let me just tell you, he's also going to help when it comes to ripping how you can make great impact out here in the world and with fashion, because you know I like to jazz things up. So he's the celebrity shoe and accessory designer, creative director of Harlem World Magazine, and founder of the Solesville Foundation. And guess what, you all? Guess what? We're not just going to be on here where you can just see our promos. We are coming to you live. Yes, I said it. Live. So we are coming on the screens, and I'm going to share with you who our special guest is for today. So that way we can go ahead and get this interview started. I'm so excited. I just cannot wait because this is going to be absolutely something to help you all on the Jazz Jump Start Show. So without further ado, let me present to you Mr. Etu Evans.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, Etu, thank you so much for joining the Jazz Jumpstart Show. I mean, let me just tell you something, Mr. Etu. Hey,
tell me.
When I saw the purple and the gold, I know that I'm talking to somebody who's not only a fashion designer, somebody who's repping an amazing fraternity, Omega Psi Phi. And
Rude to the cues.
Rep. And I was like, I'm so excited to have him. And I just cannot wait to share with the audience here even more about you and how we can get them jump started for their 2021. And then also share with us about who you are, because you're doing celebrity shoe designing work. I mean, here you are. Into like working with Beyonce, Tyra Banks, like come on, like this is, and that's just to name a few, or a couple, should I say. But tell me a little bit in the audience more about who you are and even how you got started in your career.
Sure. My name is Etu Evans. I'm a celebrity shoe, accessory, and interior designer. I also have a philanthropic arm called Soulsville, the Soulsville Foundation, and the name of my company is the Evans Guild. And we are a design, manufacturing, and media consultancy. I got started in footwear, particularly by watching my grandmother. She would sit me on her canopy bed as a kid, and she would always ask me, E2, what pair of shoes should I wear to church? And that sharpened my eye. And later I got my master's from Columbia University and was fortunate to graduate with a 4.0. That's significant to me because I kind of started out in Poison Ivy, where they tried to put me in special ed. And I got my master's in applied behavioral science. Worked as a private behavioral therapist all across Europe. And I realized it's interesting how you can't really see where you are. It's sort of like the metamorphosis that the butterfly experiences, depending on where you are. And as a kid, you know, I could only see myself as the caterpillar, but my grandmother was my cheerleader and she saw the butterfly. Also, I noticed that when she would try on the stilettos, that it would change the configuration of her body. And that really fascinated me to kind of do further research and to find out how shoes impacted the anatomy, culture, strata. And if you have an opportunity, you should check out my TEDx, where I actually take you into the history of shoes and show you the sexual implications, how shoes broke the law because they were too lewd, how shoes determine your strata in society, your rank in the military. It's a fascinating overview. So for me, shoes are what I consider to be mobile homes.
Oh my, like you have me where I'm just like, oh, wow. I've never, like, to me, when I put on a shoe, I'm like, oh, this is cute. But for you, like when you're putting on a shoe, you're looking at the fashion aspect, but then you're looking at all these other things that go with it. This just lets you know that you don't just have like a certain niche. Your niche goes a little bit further, and it puts into what you study. Because I even looked at your background. I was like, he studied behavioral science. How in the world did he get into fashion?
Well, actually, when you put that shoe on for a woman in particular, what happens is it mimics what happens in the animal kingdom. The foot becomes pointed and it causes the buttocks to protrude. And that is a mating call to the other male, whatever animal it is. So it works the same way with humans.
Oh my goodness. Like, you're dropping all sorts of gems right here. No wonder you had clients like Beyonce get me body because you were helping with shoes and different things. Like, that is so fascinating to me. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to be looking up and talking to you even more about this because this is something that's absolutely very interesting. I would not have known, and I'm a woman. I wear heels, but that was my mating call this whole time. Listeners, tell me, did you know that? Did you know that? If you
Hey,
know,
changing your shoes could change your whole trajectory. After all, the Cinderella, one pair of shoes changed her whole entire life.
Come on.
So maybe it's your shoes that are not working for you.
Oh, ooh, that's a good one. So here you are, you're doing the behavioral science of the shoe, you're doing the fashion of the shoe. When it comes to the designs that you're making, how are you making it where they stand out in such a way that it fits the particular person who has to go in that whose foot has to go in that shoe? Tell me what makes it stand out for you as well as the person who has to wear the shoe.
Sure. Every design that I create is Etunized. So I believe there's only one Etu and only I can do what I do. So I bring me, and I think that's my superpower, is understanding who I am, those creative nuances that separate me. I have some shoes, but all of my soles are purple. And it's not just the whole bottom. And the upper crust, if you will, because I believe purple is a royal color, so it shouldn't drag the ground. So that's one distinction. You won't see it splattered because I don't think luxury is something that you splatter, it's something that you savor. And in that purple, you will find my greyhound, which is the corporate logo mascot, embossed in it. I love novelty ribbons, fabrics, custom dyes. I believe the last is super important, and the last is actually the mold. And that's where you'll find your design as well as your comfort based on the actual shoe last, hence the mold. And then if it's for a particular client, like I know when I got called to do a shoot for Tyra, I look at the individual because I want to know what they do, where they go. And that will determine what I craft specifically for them. One of my signature heels is called the harp heel. Very expensive to manufacture because I'm very much intrigued by old world craftsmanship. So I study a lot of antiques and their craftsmanship. I keep up with the trends and cutting edge colors, and then I make my own magic. So those are some of the, I would say, elements that would give you the Etu Evans experience. And I like to describe my shoes as Viagra without the side effects because it has some explosive qualities.
Ooh.
So it's not just an exterior experience, it's also an interior experience.
I love it. What I love most is how you made this like your own thing. Because of course, there's so many fashion designers out there who are probably making shoes, but Etu's like, hold up, ain't nobody gonna make a shoe like Etu. And I love that because it lets you know, because this here audience, like you all are coaches, you're speakers, you're entrepreneurs, but you're letting them know that you can stand out. You don't have to fit in. Share with our audience, because many of them are business owners, how important and why it's so important for them to stand out even in a crowded marketplace.
Well, my response to that question would be, when you step in any venue, it's easy to be seen, but it's very different to be remembered. And when you can tap into what makes you special, you will always be remembered and not just seen. So for me, I Etunize everything. There's certain colors I use. There are certain shapes. I use some 40s kind of silhouettes that are deep to take you. I like things that are not very stoic, that are kind of curvaceous and warm. And I think those are things that draw people in. You have to understand what your aesthetic is. And so I spend a lot of time on just understanding me, because what I create is the transmittance of my DNA.
My goodness.
Oh, I also want to say,
Please.
one thing that I really learned, because, people would bully me when I was growing up. And I realized that my superpower was simply being me, and to resist, to tune out what other people thought I should do. And then I realized that those people were initially starting to mimic me. So I would like to pass on to anyone that's listening what I've discovered, and that is that my deliverance lies within my difference. So you have to understand what your difference is.
Ooh, this made me go and run, because that was some notes. Did you all take the notes right there? Type it in the comments, because that was something that was so important. You all, you're different. Etu, I love how you just literally worded every single thing that you worded, but you made everybody know that their brand is absolutely different. What they have to offer is absolutely different. They can have their own type of thing, because God has given them their own type of thing. You have the Etu experience. You have the shoes. Everyone should be rocking this man's shoes, because I'm sure, of course, it's going to make you feel even luxurious. It's going to make you feel, of course, for my ladies out there, get your mate and everything, because he has his own appeal just as well. Etu, this is just amazing. You are dropping nuggets for our entrepreneurs, our life changers, and what I like to call our world changers just as well. One of the things that so many people have gone through, because 2020 Etu was a year for so many. Oh my gosh, a year. But I like to look at 2021 as a different type of year. What are your thoughts on going, or should I say stepping into this year to continue to help a world changer to step into possibilities from moving out of the fear aspect, where that was so much taking place, into a faith aspect?
I would say the following. I would say 2020 was actually a very productive time for me. And I think to really harvest something, you have to plant it in the bad season or the good season to get it into the next season. So my question to the world changer is, what did you plant in faith that you wanted to harvest in 2021? For me, as soon as 2021 came in, I wanted to say that actually my birthday was February 2nd in 2020, and that was the palindrome. So for me, that palindrome was a mark, if you will, for exposing, unearthing things that maybe that were taken from you, things that you thought you should have had, but they were delayed. And if you understood that, you will understand that in 2021, which I say 202WON, because I've already declared the victory at the mark of the year. So I always start and see the end, and that's where I start. What do I want in the end? And then I set my trajectory. But the first thing before I take any step, it is to declare victory. And out of my mouth, I have the power to create those things that do not exist. I have the power to confront my fears, even if I'm shaking in my faith. If I'm still standing, my fears cannot push me down. I still have the intestinal fortitude to push back. So are you pushing back? Have you written your vision? Have you made it plain? Have you looked into your resources? What do you want? Because if you don't know who you are and what you want, you're going to take whatever someone gives you. I believe 2021 is not about taking any leftovers. It's not about taking any scraps. It's not about do-overs. It's having what you want and walking in dominion and possessing the land.
Ooh, world changers. Did he just give you a jazz jumpstart or what? If he did, go ahead and type in jazz jumpstart because I don't know about you, but I was just smiling like from ear to ear because that was a jumpstart right there. E2, you just set us off. You set everyone off for 2021.
Hey.
I love it. I love it. So E2, like now we're all jump started for 2021 with everything that you had to say. We're stepping, which like you said, claiming the land for Dominion. And speaking of claiming the land, it meant I start thinking about global because that's like the land, the global sphere of the land. And I think about your shoes and the gifts and talents that you have with your shoe fashion designs. So tell me a little bit about the global appeal that you have to resonate not only with Western countries, but for world changers all over the world. What is it that is going to allow you to have that global appeal and have a global appeal for them?
Well, I would say that while I worked as a behavioral therapist all over France, it was my day off, and I left the lavender fields, and I went into Paris. And there was a gentleman, I received a lot of compliments. I was wearing an orange Kenzo blazer, designer brand that I really like. And a gentleman approached me, and it's probably the New York mentality. I thought he was trying to rob me. So I was like, let me get away from this guy. You know, I don't want to mess up my shoes, and I definitely don't want to mess up this Kenzo blazer that I just bought. And I scurried up an escalator, and it was this very well-dressed African gentleman, and he says, "You look impeccable." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, some guy looks like he's trying to come after me. I'm not sure what's going on. It's my first time in Paris. He said, he probably just wants to compliment you. You should go back downstairs. And that person happened to be the publicist for Gucci. And he said, "I like your style. I'm curious to know, what do you do? What else do you do? You obviously look smart, but what else do you do?" So that's how I realized that, you know, I had this appeal in France, and then later London, Africa, and then it goes on, South America. But I would also dress my European clients. And one of the things I realized within the African-American experience, how they would talk about what's jive. And I think sometimes the lack of exposure within our culture, or any culture, because I believe everything that's created comes out of the cradle. So I don't think we are imitators. I think we are leaders who actually have our things snatched from us and repackaged and given to us. So that's why the world changers have to get in position to own whatever they create. And it's time for us to start selling back who we are and what we created back to those people who actually want it. So sometimes we look down on ourselves when we're the real diamonds in the rough. We're the real jewels. You know, don't fall for the counterfeit. You're more than enough. What we have is more than sufficient, because who gave it to us? It can't be replicated. We have to give it. And we should be the ones that demand permission for use of it.
Wow. That's all and I'm a woman of many words, and all I have is wow right now because you have wowed me. I'm sure you've wowed the audience. Audience, tell me in the comments what your feedback is. I mean, he's dropping all sorts of gems. Like, this will make you all, as a world changers, continue to go after the global pill, step into dominion, claim the land. Like, Etu here is truly a world changer. This is what a world changer is. They're one who claims victory. They're one who gets out there and knows that they stand out. And he definitely has a story to share. So Etu, I want to know, like, with all of the things that you're doing now, what do you feel is for you for 2021? Besides, of course, the victory, what do you have going on?
Well, the victory is laid out as such. I see myself for 2021 making a pivot. I'm normally a suit guy, so this is definitely much an interesting turn for me. And I say that because anybody who knows me, you know, I'll go to sleep in a suit. To me, it just feels like I'm wearing, you know, a pair of sweats because I'm so used to working in them. But when COVID hit, I realized that I was only going to get something to eat and not really having an opportunity to dress up. It just didn't make sense to get all dressed up to go to a bodega, to go a few blocks and then come back home. So I began, being the behavioral therapist that I am, looking around. In your previous question, you asked, how can you have global appeal? And one of those ways too, just to piggyback, is to understand trends. But to understand trends, you have to be observant. So during this, what I call COVID cushion era, I started looking around. I noticed that everyone was wearing sneakers. So I was like, okay, I know that sneaker culture is big. COVID has created the casualization of America. So I'm not certainly putting my stilettos into extinction, but I am clear that the reason that the dinosaur is extinct and the turtle is still alive is because of its ability to adapt. So victory in 21 for me is understanding the power of adaptation. So I'm looking forward to developing a sneaker line, a capsule collection. I'm looking forward to setting up a shoe manufacturing facility. I'm very excited about the Beyond the Return project in Ghana, which I'm tapped as the head for footwear, accessories, and furniture design. Interior design is my mistress, if you know me well. We rendezvous about twice a month. Soulsville. One of the things that we started off doing while I was a student at Columbia is I would go out every night at midnight and I would pray, and then I would be led and I would to find shoes, and I would find all of these shoes in great condition, and then the ones that weren't, I had a shoe repair shop and we would refurbish them. So that's 2020. But 2021, we're looking with this manufacturing conceptualization and strategic partnership that I'm putting together, is that we would create our own sneakers, and we will have design contests, and we'll pair the African community with the African American community, and we will impact the lives and change souls. The motto of Soulsville is saving souls one step at a time. 21 looks like I will continue working as the creative director of Harlem World Magazine. Our numbers are increasing. Things are going great. I helped to put together the first summit, and that was successful. So it's going to be a bigger summit this year. You should check out Etu's World. The column is lit. A little biased there, but it is. I'm working with the Black Achievement Fund out of Atlanta. I just returned actually a day ago. And that was an exciting, exhilarating experience. They are also partners with Freedom Georgia, which, they have the first Black community. So I'm going to be the cultural and creative architect for their fashion show, the Creative Fashion Week for them on Juneteenth. I think that's about where we are in 21. A wife would be nice, so, that's in pursuit, so I'm going to stop looking at just putting shoes on people and putting shoes on the one. So,
yes.
So everything is going great. This is my second interview, and we're not even in week 3, so we kicked off on our highest heel, if you will, no pun intended. So I'm very optimistic about 21, and it's all about getting investors, strategic partnerships, getting with other visionaries who understand your vision, and removing leeches and beggars, and getting into position with other world changers who understand the power of change and have made that commitment equally.
Oh my goodness. Like, I hear everything you're saying for your 2021. I definitely see, like, that big word was victory. I see it for you. You're going to be stepping into it. You're going to be striding, and you're going to be ripping every single runway that has your path. How about that?
Hey, let's go. I see it. I stand in agreement with you.
Yes. You're truly a world changer, Etu. And I'm just like fascinated, even to see your pivot. Like last year, we were pivoting towards the different things for various industries, for different types of world changers. And I even look at myself when it comes to fashion. I'm like, oh my goodness, I used to have all my dresses. Now I have like these cute tops and maybe somewhat casual pants and maybe glamorous slippers sometimes. But the industry has changed and you're pivoting.
Yes.
So that's amazing, because being adaptive, and everyone type that word in the chat room, be adaptive, because that is so important as we continue to evolve, because it's not just who we are, we're evolving to greater and to victory.
Yes.
Etu, you are amazing. I want you, if you don't mind, to share one last word or motivational nugget to give these world changers a jazz jumpstart for the rest of their 2021. Share with them something.
I think I'll give you a personal quote. I haven't used it in a while, but it goes a little something like this. Greatness is the ability to reach out far by reaching deep within. Greatness is the ability to reach out far by reaching deep within. So it starts within you. So you need to reach with inside you, because that's your gift to unravel. And when you pull that out, that gift starts to unravel, and that's what you present before the world. And that's how you'll be remembered, because your gifts are is that thing that really makes you significant. It's your superpower. So find your gift.
Powerful indeed. Find your gift, world changers, because that is going to make room for you. Etu, it has been a pleasure having you. I want you to share with the individuals, the world changers here, how people can find you, how we can step into your shoes and those sneakers that we're going to be having really, really soon. Tell us how we can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Etu Evans. That's ETU. EVANS, also on Facebook at Etu Evans. And if you want to drop an email, you can do so at my full name, etuevans@gmail.com.
Oh my goodness. So you heard his information. You can always find his rest of his information in the comments down below. Make sure that you subscribe just as well, so you can get additional information and all the things that you need, because guess what? All Etu's information is in the comments. So follow him, find him.
I want to say also, there'll be a website coming, but I took it down because it's a part of the pivot, but it will be back up, and it's etuevans.com.
Absolutely. So make sure you go to etuevans.com, but keep all the information is in the comments down below. Etu, thank you again for coming on the Jazz Jumpstart Show.
It's been a blast, and rude to the cues.
Yes. I am just so excited that I had you. I'm sure our world changers are. Share with us in the comments one of the big takeaways that you had from Etu. Did he get you jazzed and jump started for 2021? I'm sure he did, because I just know he is just an amazing world changer who's just like that. And for my world changers out there, continue to stay tuned, because it's going to be even more coming up to get you where you're jazzed, where you're even jump starting your 2021 and beyond. So once again, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because you don't want to miss all the amazing things that's going to help you not only speak life, but also speak business, because you want to be able to grow your business just as well. So follow and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend that the Jazz Jumpstart Show is here, and we're ready to have you blossom into some amazing things, because that's truly who you are. So go ahead, share, subscribe, write a comment, because we want to know. Thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you really, really soon.